And they have Bryan Seymour on there. And I don't know this guy from Matt. I don't think I ever talked to this guy in all my days dealing with the ASC and all that. So I got nothing on him. And I'm thinking maybe he's a legitimate guy. I don't know. But he says he's done 180 Scientology stories. You know, maybe he understands something. The guy says that the Australian Supreme Court decision in Australia was represented the first country to recognize Scientology as a religion. This was in 1983. I mean, he doesn't know his ass from second base, all right? Scientology was recognized as a religion in the 1960s in the United States of America, and numerous times since then, up to 1983 in the United States of America, and in a number of other countries. Okay, so he's just flat wrong, this expert. And then the Supreme Court decision was a pretty enlightened decision in that it did a meticulous recounting of what the standards have been in Western law, in common, English common law, and through the ages on what constitutes a religion. And they did a painstaking analysis of the practices and the beliefs of Scientology in coming to the conclusion, right? And it was I don't know how many pages it was, but I remember it being a very, scholarly work, a meticulously scholarly work. And this is what Bryan Seymour says about that, about the Supreme Court decision in 1983 in Australia. Quote, the Supreme Court said, you know what? No one can really say they're not a religion, so they're a religion. That's what he said that happened with the Supreme Court. Like somebody came in, and said, hey, say they're a religion, okay? And then, he goes off into some story about because he had a thought one day that he hadn't seen anybody in a wheelchair at a Church of Scientology, and then the next day he did. Therefore, that told him that Scientology had his phones tapped, all right? And that the Scientology spokesperson he dealt with was creating this person in a wheelchair was an elaborate ruse to disprove to him this thought that he had, okay? These people are literally rolling the marbles like Captain Quake, okay? It's a delusion fest. At a certain point in this opening year, season 2, Seymour jumps in and says that this senator down in Australia, Nick Xenophobe, comes up with this brilliant idea, right? He is going to take all of Seymour's accusations and put them on the record in the Parliament so as to shield Seymour and his media outlet from the libel laws, because the lawyers from Seymour's outfit thought the stuff was so scandalous and apparently didn't have the corroboration for it that they were certain they were going to get sued for libel. So Xenophobe came up with this idea to bray at the Parliament in Australia and call for all these measures to be taken against Scientology. And filibuster and just go through and tell all of the stories that Seymour wanted to publish, right? Back when that was going on in 2010, I think it was, I said that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what this guy's doing. They're just trying to evade the libel laws. This thing's not going anywhere, right? This guy doesn't have a sincere bone in his body. Go back and look. I mean, I got annihilated by the ASC for being so irreverent towards the ASC priesthood.